Mommy, when is Daddy coming back? Emily gently rubbed her daughter Penny's back. Only a small nightlight was on in the bedroom. Its warm yellow glow fell across the pink bedsheets. Penny had just turned 6. She wore her hair in 2 little braids, and in the dim light, her eyes looked especially bright. Daddy will be back in a month. Go to sleep, sweetie. Emily's voice was incredibly gentle, but her heart clenched. Her husband, Alex, had been on a business trip for over 2 months now. He said his company had a major project down in Dallas, Texas. At first, they FaceTimed every single day. Then it became once every 2 or 3 days. And over this past week, he had only called twice. But Penny rolled over and grabbed the edge of Emily's shirt with her little hand. I'm going to tell you a secret, but you can't get mad. All right. Emily smiled and stroked her daughter's cheek. What's the secret? Did you draw on the walls with crayons again? No. Penny shuffled closer. Her breath tickled Emily's ear. Her voice was a mere whisper, as if she were sharing the greatest mystery in the world. Daddy has been hiding in the closet for a long time. Is he playing hide and seek with us? Emily's hand froze in midair. The bedroom suddenly became terrifyingly quiet. All she could hear was the pounding of her own heart. Penny, what are you talking about? Emily tried to keep her voice steady, but her throat had gone completely dry. In the closet, in that big sliding door closet in the master bedroom. Penny blinked, completely unaware of the horrifying weight of her words. Daddy is hiding in there. I know. It's been 50 days. I counted. Sometimes he comes out at night. I heard noises. But you told me to sleep tight and stay in bed, so I didn't get up. Emily felt a cold chill run down her spine. The hairs on her arms stood up. She slowly turned her head toward the bedroom door. Their master bedroom was right across the hall. The door was slightly ajar, revealing pitch-black darkness inside. Sweetie, you shouldn't joke about things like that. Emily's voice trembled. She pulled Penny into a hug. Daddy is on a business trip in Texas. How could he be in the closet? Did you have a nightmare? It's not a nightmare. Penny got agitated and pulled out of Emily's embrace. I really heard it. Sometimes at night, sometimes during the day when I was napping. I even saw him once through the crack in the door. Daddy came out of the closet and went right back in. He even went shh and told me not to tell you. Emily sat on the edge of the bed, paralyzed. The wind outside rustled the leaves, and the sound seemed especially distinct in the dead of night. When did you see this? Last Wednesday afternoon, I woke up from my nap and had to use the bathroom. Penny recalled with a serious face. I saw your bedroom door was open a little bit. Daddy came out from the closet side, saw me, and went right back. He put his finger to his lips, so I wouldn't tell you. Emily found it hard to breathe. She stood up, walked to the window, and took a deep breath. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Alex was in a completely different state. Just yesterday, he had sent a location pin from a city over 1,000 miles away. He sent work photos to their family group chat every day, although they had become less frequent lately. Mommy, what's wrong? Penny's voice sounded confused. She climbed out of bed and walked barefoot over to Emily. Emily looked down at her daughter. Penny's face was dead serious, without a hint of mischief. A 6-year-old child doesn't know how to invent such detailed and terrifying stories. It's nothing, sweetie. Let's go to sleep. Emily carried Penny back to bed and tucked her in. We will talk about this tomorrow. It's late now. Is Daddy going to hide in the closet for a long time? Penny asked in a whisper, lying against her pillow. Doesn't he get hot in there? Should I bring him some water? Emily did not answer. She gently stroked her daughter's hair until Penny's breathing became deep and even. Once she was sure her daughter was asleep, Emily tiptoed out of the kids' room. She stood in the hallway, staring at the slightly open door of the master bedroom. The darkness inside seemed alive, slowly oozing out into the hall. Emily turned on the flashlight on her cell phone. The beam of light pierced the gloom. She took it step by step toward the bedroom, treading so lightly that her footsteps were practically silent. She pushed the door open. The room looked exactly as it had that morning when she left for work. The king-size bed was neatly made. Alex's pillow was in its usual spot. Their framed couple's photo sat on the dresser. In the picture, Alex had his arm around her shoulders, smiling brightly. That was taken 3 years ago on Penny's 3rd birthday. Emily's gaze shifted to the corner of the room, to the massive custom-built closet. They had ordered it specifically when they renovated the house. It took up an entire wall. The dark espresso wood doors were tightly shut, gleaming dully in the flashlight beam. Emily walked up to the closet and placed her hand on the metal handle. The cold metal made her flinch. Should she open it? If there was nothing inside, it meant Penny had lied or had a vivid imagination. But how could a 6-year-old insist on this for 50 days, even keeping an exact count? And what if there really was someone in there? Emily was terrified to even think about it. She carefully turned the handle. The door slid open with a soft click. She shined her flashlight inside. On the left hung her clothes: dresses, coats, blouses. On the right was Alex's side, mostly suits and dress shirts. He favored a sharp corporate look. In the middle were shelves stacked with sweaters and casual wear. Everything looked perfectly normal. Emily opened the door all the way, even crouching down to look at the floor. Aside from a few storage bins, there was nothing. She stood up and let out a long sigh of relief. It was definitely just childhood imagination. Penny probably missed her dad so much that her mind was playing tricks on her. Emily closed the closet, walked over to the bed, and sat down. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Alex. "Are you asleep?" "Worked late tonight. Just got back to the hotel." A photo followed. It showed a desk in a hotel room, a laptop, and some paperwork. The time on her phone read 11:23 p.m. Emily stared at the photo for a long time and replied, "Just put Penny to bed. Take care of yourself and try to get some sleep." The conversation ended there, just like all their recent conversations, brief and distant. Emily kept staring at her phone screen and suddenly noticed a detail in the photo. Next to the laptop on the desk was a glass of water. The sides of the Giffucan condensation, as if the water had just been taken out of a refrigerator with ice. But Alex had a sensitive stomach and acid reflux. He exclusively drank room-temperature bottled water. Emily frowned and zoomed in on the photo. Maybe the hotel provided it and he didn't even drink it. She tried to reassure herself. But the anxiety, like a drop of dark ink in a glass of clear water, slowly began to spread. The next morning, Emily woke up early. She made breakfast, woke Penny up, and drove her to kindergarten. She was distracted the entire time. "Mommy, why are you so quiet today?" Penny asked from the back seat on the way to school, looking up at the rearview mirror. "Mommy is just thinking about work." Emily forced a smile, parked the SUV, got out, and adjusted her daughter's little backpack. "Do you remember what we talked about last night?" "I remember. Daddy is in the closet," Penny said matter-of-factly, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. "If you see Daddy after school today, tell Mommy right away, okay?" "Okay." Penny nodded and skipped away toward the school entrance. Watching her daughter's back, Emily felt a heavy weight on her chest. She drove back home, spending the whole commute retracing the events of the last 2 months. Alex's business trip had been incredibly sudden. He got a phone call one evening, saying the corporation was launching an urgent project and he needed to go down south to Texas for at least 3 months. Emily had asked why it was so sudden. Alex said it was a rare opportunity. If everything went well, he would get a massive promotion. "It's worth the hard work for the sake of our family," he had said, hugging her. The very next morning, he left with his suitcase, not even letting Emily drive him to the airport. Then came the daily FaceTime calls and text messages. But Emily gradually noticed that Alex started doing video calls less and less, constantly claiming he was stuck in meetings or out at corporate dinners. The photos he sent were only of his work, laptop, or documents. Not a single selfie. Once, Emily asked to see his hotel room. Alex claimed it was a mess and promised to give her a tour once he cleaned up. That never happened. Emily parked her car in the garage but didn't rush to get out. She sat in the driver's seat, scrolling through the photos of Alex on her phone. 7 years of marriage, a 6-year-old child. Was Alex a good husband? Honestly, he wasn't bad. He deposited his paycheck on time, bought her gifts for their anniversary, and loved their daughter very much. But something was always missing. Emily couldn't quite put her finger on what it was. Maybe emotional intimacy. Alex rarely shared his deep thoughts with her, preferring to make major decisions on his own. Her mother-in-law, Martha, also constantly interfered, dictating how they should live their lives. At the thought of Martha, Emily let out a heavy sigh. She stepped out of the car and headed inside. Upon entering the house, she went straight to the master bedroom. The morning sun pierced through the gaps in the blinds, leaving a strip of light on the hardwood floor. Emily opened the closet once more. This time, she inspected everything meticulously. She went through Alex's clothes one by one, even sniffing them. There was no smell of dampness or stale air, but when she reached the very bottom, her fingers brushed against something. It was a small, round plastic object. Emily picked it up and examined it closely. It was a standard, navy blue dress shirt button. She didn't remember Alex owning any shirts in that exact shade of blue. Furthermore, the button looked brand new, with no signs of wear and tear. Emily stood there holding the button, her mind a complete mess. Did it fall off some new piece of clothing she hadn't noticed? Did Penny drop it in there while playing? Her cell phone rang, shattering her thoughts. It was her mother-in-law. "Emily, are you busy?" Martha's voice was haughty, as usual. "Mom, I just dropped Penny off at school. Is something wrong?" "Oh, nothing in particular. I just wanted to ask how Alex is doing lately." Martha paused. "He's been on this business trip for a long time. Do you two talk often?" "Every day, Mom. Don't worry." Emily walked over to the window, looking out at the manicured suburban lawns. "That's good, because I always worry that some people might start acting inappropriately when their husband is out of town." The words stung sharply. Emily gripped her phone so tightly her nails dug into her palm. "Mom, what are you implying?" "I'm not implying anything. Just reminding you to be careful." Martha's tone turned icy. "Alex is working his fingers to the bone out there. Don't you dare cause problems for him back home. I heard you were out having dinner with your coworkers last week, including a male colleague." Anger flared in Emily's chest. "That was a company happy hour. There were more than 10 of us." "Who knows? I wasn't there to see it," Martha scoffed. "Let me tell you, Emily, we accepted you into this family because you seemed modest and decent. If you do anything shameful, I don't say I didn't warn you." The line went dead. Emily stood frozen, shaking with rage. This wasn't the first time. For 7 years of marriage, her mother-in-law had constantly criticized and suspected her. And Alex? He always just said, "Mom is getting older, just let her have her way." She let it go, compromised, bit her tongue, and this is what it led to. Emily took several deep breaths, forcing herself to calm down. Now was not the time to be angry. The closet, the phone call from Martha, Alex's strange behavior. These fragments swirled in her head, refusing to form a complete picture. She needed to figure this out. That afternoon, Emily took some paid time off. She emailed her manager saying she had a family emergency and then began systematically searching the entire house. She started in the bedroom, inch by inch. Walls, floors, furniture, any place a person could possibly hide. Nothing. The house was perfectly normal, except for that mysterious blue button. Emily sat on the living room sofa, clutching the button in her hand. She remembered Penny's words. "Daddy has been hiding in the closet. It's been 50 days. 50 days. Alex left for his business trip 68 days ago. If Penny was telling the truth, it meant Alex had returned 18 days after he left and had been hiding in the closet ever since. It was utterly absurd. Emily shook her head, feeling like she was losing her mind for even seriously considering such a possibility. That evening, she went to pick Penny up from the after-school program. Kids were running happily out the elementary school doors. Penny saw Emily and sprinted over with pure joy. "How was school today, sweetie?" Emily picked her daughter up and kissed her cheek. "Good. We learned a new song." Penny wrapped her arms around Emily's neck and suddenly whispered, "Mommy, I thought about Daddy all day today." Emily's heart skipped a beat. "What did you think about?" "I wondered when he was going to come out of the closet." Penny's voice was so soft that only Emily could hear. "During quiet time today, I dreamed that Daddy came out and read me a storybook." Emily didn't know what to say. On the drive home, she carefully asked, "Can you tell Mommy how you found out Daddy was in the closet?" "I just heard noises," Penny answered, playing with her doll in the back seat without looking up. "At night, when I'm sleeping, I hear scratching sounds, like mice. At first I was scared, but then one time I quietly got out of bed and saw Daddy walk out of your bedroom and go into the kitchen to drink water. He saw me and told me to go back to bed. He said he was playing hide and seek with me." Emily's hands, gripping the steering wheel, began to sweat. "When was this?" "Right after Daddy went on his trip," Penny thought for a moment. "It wasn't long after he left that I found out." "Why are you only telling Mommy now?" "Because Daddy said it was a secret," Penny answered seriously. "He said it was our special game, and if I told you, it wouldn't be fun anymore. But I think he's been hiding in there for way too long. His legs are probably falling asleep." The SUV came to a stop at a red light. Emily stared straight ahead, her head buzzing. Penny's description was far too specific to be a child's fabrication. Furthermore, she mentioned the kitchen. If Alex really was coming out at night to drink water, Emily remembered that lately, she had noticed the glasses in the kitchen cabinet were not in their usual spots. She had brushed it off as her own forgetfulness. After getting home, Emily cooked dinner for Penny while inspecting every corner of the kitchen. There were 4 glasses on the dish rack. She remembered only using 2 that morning, but now 3 were wet. Maybe her daughter drank some water during the day? Penny, did you drink water at home this afternoon? Yeah, Grandma poured it for me, Penny replied while coloring at the kitchen island. Grandma was here? Emily turned around sharply. Uh-huh. Grandma came over this afternoon and played with me for a bit, Penny nodded. She said she came to check on me and brought cookies. Martha had been here. Emily frowned. Her mother-in-law hadn't mentioned a word about it on the phone. Besides, Martha had a spare key to their house. Alex had given it to her, claiming it was for emergencies. When did Grandma leave? She left right after my nap. Penny finished coloring a flower and looked up at Emily. Mommy, does Grandma not like you? Emily froze. Why do you think that? Because Grandma said things would be better without you. Penny's voice dropped to a whisper. She said Daddy could be living a much better life, and it's all your fault. Emily felt a sharp pain in her chest. She crouched down and took her daughter's hands. Grandma is just saying silly things. Mommy and Daddy are very happy together, right? There was doubt in Penny's eyes. But Daddy rarely smiles. And you guys don't kiss like the other kids' parents do. The brutal honesty of a child cut like a knife. Emily hugged her daughter, completely unable to utter a single word. Later that night, after putting Penny to bed, Emily sat alone in the living room. She didn't turn on the lights. Only the faint glow of the street lamps filtered through the windows. She needed to think. If Penny was telling the truth and Alex really was in the closet, what did it mean? Why would he do such a thing? The Dallas trip was a lie. What about his corporate job? What about the photos and location pins he sent? If Penny was lying, why would she invent such a bizarre story? Could a 6-year-old craft something so flawless? And then there was Martha, and her unannounced visit today. Why did she come over? Why didn't she give a heads up? Emily stood up and walked back into the master bedroom. This time, she didn't turn on the light. She just stood in the dark, staring at the closet. Moonlight spilled through the window, casting a blurry patch of light across the wooden doors. Emily slowly approached, pressed her ear against the door panel, held her breath, and listened. At first, she could only hear the thumping of her own heart. Then she caught a sound. A faint, barely perceptible noise, like the rustling of fabric or the drawing of a breath. Emily jerked back, bumping into the dresser. The bottles of perfume and cosmetics wobbled and clinked together. The sound from inside the closet stopped instantly. Everything plunged back into a dead, heavy silence. She stood there, the blood freezing in her veins. She heard it. She really heard it. It wasn't her imagination. There was someone inside that closet. Emily practically sprinted out of the bedroom. She bolted into the living room, slammed the door behind her, leaned her back against it, and gasped for air. Her heart was hammering against her ribs, threatening to break out of her chest. The moonlight filtered through the large living room windows, outlining the furniture in dark gray silhouettes. It was quiet, too quiet. So quiet she could hear the blood rushing in her ears. Emily slid down to the floor, pulled her knees to her chest, and curled into a ball. Was the sound she just heard real? Or was it an auditory hallucination brought on by extreme stress? She pinched her arm hard, a sharp pain. No, this wasn't a dream. There really was someone in the closet. That realization, like a bucket of ice water, drenched her from head to toe, leaving her shivering violently. Alex was in the closet. Her husband, Penny's father, had been hiding in their own bedroom closet for 50 days. Why? Emily's mind was pure chaos. Terrifying theories flooded in one after another. He was spying on her. It was Martha's idea. They were trying to catch her doing something wrong. All the unpleasant moments from 7 years of marriage resurfaced in her memory. Martha's constant nitpicking, Alex's emotional distance, all the tiny red flags she had ignored, all the grievances she had swallowed. Emily bit her lip, forcing herself to focus. She couldn't panic now. If it really was Alex in the closet, he now knew that she was onto him. What would happen next? Would he come out or keep hiding? Emily slowly got up, her legs feeling like jelly. She walked over to the corner of the living room and grabbed her phone. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Who should she call? The police? And say what? My husband is hiding in my closet. Would the cops even believe her? Besides, if it really was Alex, it was a domestic dispute. The police wouldn't do much. Call her best friend, Olivia? Olivia went to college with Alex, and they had all stayed in touch. But Olivia had a fiery temper. If she found out, she would rush right over, and a massive explosive confrontation would be unavoidable. Emily set the phone down and began pacing the living room. She needed solid proof. She needed to verify beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was Alex in that closet, and she needed to find out exactly why he was doing this. And another thing, if he was hiding in the closet all evening, what about during the day? Where did he go? Penny said she sometimes heard noises during the day. Was he in there all day too? Emily suddenly remembered her utility bills. Last month's statement was significantly higher than usual. She had chalked it up to the summer heat and running the central AC. But if there was another full-grown adult in the house all day, what about the water and gas bills? Emily opened the utility company app on her phone. Her water bill had spiked by 20%, likely from someone taking stealthy showers when she was out. All of this started exactly when Alex supposedly left for Texas. Emily felt her hands and feet go numb with cold. She walked into the kitchen and opened the stainless steel refrigerator, the Chobani yogurt she bought last weekend. She distinctly remembered there were 4 cups left. Now there were only 2. She had bought a fresh carton of eggs, and 5 were missing in just 3 days. She had assumed she just miscounted, or that Penny had a big appetite. Emily shut the fridge and leaned against the granite counter. All the evidence pointed to one horrific conclusion. There was a third person secretly living in this house. And she, the homeowner, had been completely oblivious for 50 solid days. If Penny hadn't spoken up, she might never have known. The terror of that realization was even worse than the fear of finding someone in the closet. It meant she had lost total control over her own life. It meant she was being played for an absolute fool. Emily clenched her fists, her nails digging deep into her palms. The sheer anger began to push the fear aside. What did she do to deserve this? For 7 years, she worked a corporate job, brought in half the income, managed the household, and treated her mother-in-law with total respect, even though the woman never appreciated a bit of it. Alex said he needed to focus on climbing the ladder. She supported him. He said he had to work late. She understood. He said he had to go to Dallas for 3 months. She didn't put up a fight. And this is what she got in return. He hides in a closet and spies on her. Emily marched right up to the master bedroom door and put her hand on the knob. This time, there was no fear, only a burning fury in her chest. She wanted to kick the door open, rip the closet doors off their tracks, drag out whoever was sitting in there, and demand to know what the hell they were trying to achieve. But logic held her back. She couldn't act on impulse. If it really was Alex in there, why was he doing it? There had to be a concrete reason. And if he managed to stay hidden in a closet for 50 days, it meant this was a highly calculated operation. This level of premeditation wasn't a prank. Emily let go of the knob and backed away a few steps. She needed a plan. Step 1. Get absolute visual confirmation that it was Alex. Step 2. Figure out his endgame. Only then would she decide how to scorch the earth. Emily barely slept that night. She lay in Penny's bed, holding her daughter, her eyes wide open, her ears strained to catch any noise coming from across the hall. But the night remained silent, save for the occasional gust of wind or the distant hum of a car on the suburban street. By morning, Emily's eyes were bloodshot from sleep deprivation. She quietly got up and made Penny some waffles. "Mommy, your eyes are so red," Penny said at the kitchen island, looking at her with concern. Mommy didn't sleep well, had some bad dreams. Emily forced a smile and slid a glass of milk toward her daughter. "Mommy is going to drop you off at school today, and then I have some errands to run. Will you be back early?" "Yes, Mommy will be the very first one in the pickup line to get you." After dropping Penny off, Emily did not drive to her office. She took another day of PTO and drove straight to a Best Buy in a neighboring town. "I need a micro-smart camera," she told the associate, trying to keep her voice completely casual. "Something discreet, that connects to an iPhone app so I can view a live feed." The employee showed her a few models. Emily chose the smallest one, the size of a quarter, which had a magnetic mount. As she swiped her credit card, her hands shook slightly. She never in a million years imagined she would be installing hidden surveillance in her own house to spy on her own husband. But since it had come to this, she was going to get the truth. Back home, Emily stood outside the bedroom door, took a few deep breaths, and walked in. Morning sunlight flooded the room. Everything looked devastatingly normal. The custom closet sat quietly in the corner. Its dark wooden doors were tightly shut. Emily walked over and slid it open. The inside looked exactly as it had yesterday. The clothes hung in perfect alignment. She thoroughly inspected the back walls of the closet, searching for hidden compartments or false panels, but found nothing. Was there empty space behind the closet? Emily remembered the floor plans. That was a load-bearing wall. There couldn't be a hidden alcove. Plus, the closet was built in. It sat flush against the drywall. She stepped back, assessing the dimensions. The entire unit was about 7 feet wide and less than 3 feet deep. For a grown man, it would be incredibly cramped. If Alex really spent 50 days in there, Emily shook her head, unable to fathom it. She took out the tiny camera and found the perfect hiding spot. On the bookshelf directly facing the closet sat a decorative picture frame. She magnetically attached the lens to the back edge of the frame so it pointed directly at the closet doors. She opened the app on her iPhone and adjusted the angle. The high-definition feed was crystal clear. It captured the entire closet and most of the bedroom floor. Emily activated the motion detection setting. The second there was movement, the camera would record and push a notification to her phone. Once everything was set, she walked out of the bedroom and closed the door. Now, she just had to wait. At noon, Emily ate a quick sandwich. Her phone remained silent, no alerts. She opened the live feed. The bedroom was empty. The closet doors were completely shut. At 2 p.m., just as Emily was grabbing her keys to go pick up Penny, her iPhone buzzed. A notification from the camera app. Motion detected. Emily's heart skipped a beat. She tapped the notification. The video clip loaded. In the bedroom, the closet door was slid open just a few inches. An arm was reaching out from inside. Emily held her breath, her eyes glued to the screen. She knew that arm perfectly well. The long fingers, the watch on the wrist. It was Alex's fossil watch, the exact one she bought him for their 3rd wedding anniversary. Emily felt all the blood rush to her head. It was him. The hand blindly patted the floor outside, as if checking for something, then quickly retreated. The closet door slid shut again. The entire sequence lasted less than 10 seconds. If she hadn't been looking at the screen, she never would have known. Emily collapsed onto the sofa. The phone slipped from her hands and landed on the cushions. It really was Alex. Her husband was genuinely hiding in the closet, and he had just reached out. It was just a hand, but it proved Penny had been telling the truth all along. It proved that for 50 days he had been inside this house, secretly watching her. Emily buried her face in her hands. Her shoulders shook not from fear, but from raw anger, deep humiliation, and an icy dread. 7 years of marriage. Who on earth did she marry? Her phone buzzed again. It was Martha. Emily looked at the caller ID and suddenly, the puzzle pieces snapped together. Martha's unannounced visit yesterday, the nasty, passive-aggressive comments. And right before Alex left for his trip, Martha had come over too. She and Alex had spent a long time talking behind closed doors in the home office. Right after that, Alex announced the Dallas project. It was entirely premeditated. Emily answered the phone. Her voice was surprisingly steady. "Yes, Mom? Emily, are you not at work today?" Martha's tone dripped with nosy curiosity. "I wasn't feeling well. I took some PTO." "Oh, home all by yourself, are you? Who else would be here?" Emily asked, lacing her voice with sarcasm. Martha paused. "I just worry. With Alex gone, you need to be careful being home alone. Thanks for your concern, Mom. I'm perfectly fine." Emily stared at the frozen video frame on her phone. The closet doors were tightly shut again. "By the way, has Alex mentioned anything to you lately? About what? You know, about work? Or family plans?" Martha's words were intentionally vague. "No, we haven't talked much lately. Didn't you know that, Mom?" Emily said pointedly. "Oh, well, I know he's busy with the corporate project." Martha sounded slightly panicked. "Well, I was just asking. Get some rest." The call ended abruptly. Emily tossed her phone aside and let out a cold laugh. Her mother-in-law was fishing for information. It was obvious Martha knew Alex was in the closet. She was probably the mastermind behind this entire twisted operation. But why? What did they want? Emily recalled that even before the wedding, Martha had looked down on her. She felt Emily came from a blue-collar background with an unremarkable job. But Alex had insisted on marrying her, and Martha was forced to accept it. For years, Martha nitpicked everything, trying to push her to her breaking point. But Emily endured it for Alex, for Penny, for the sake of their family unit. Now, it seemed her patience had earned her zero respect, only a profound humiliation. On the drive to pick up Penny, Emily debated her next move. Put her cards on the table? No, she still didn't know exactly what Alex and Martha were plotting. If she blew the lid off now, Alex might just walk out of the closet, and she would never get the real truth. But pretending she didn't know and letting them continue this sick play? Emily gritted her teeth. She couldn't just sit around knowing her husband was in her bedroom closet spying on her and act like everything was peachy. It was too disgusting. "Mommy, are you in a bad mood today?" Penny's voice pulled Emily out of her dark thoughts. "No, sweetie. Mommy is just thinking." Emily looked at her daughter in the rearview mirror. "Penny, when you saw Daddy come out of the closet, what was he wearing? His normal clothes?" Penny thought hard. Sometimes his pajamas, sometimes the clothes he wears to the office. His office clothes? Uh-huh, a button-up shirt and dress pants. Emily frowned. If Alex was putting on his work clothes, it meant that during the day, he might actually be leaving the house, only to sneak back into the closet at night. That didn't make sense. Did you ever see him leave the house? No, Penny shook her head. He was always home. He only came out when I was sleeping or in my room. Emily didn't press further. Back at the house, she helped Penny with her spelling homework and cooked some mac and cheese. Everything proceeded as usual. But internally, she was pulled tight as a guitar string. At 8 p.m., Penny was watching cartoons in the living room. Under the guise of putting away laundry, Emily went into the master bedroom. She quickly walked over to the bookshelf, took down the picture frame, popped the camera off, connected it to her phone, and reviewed the day's footage. Aside from the hand reaching out at noon, the doors hadn't opened again. But Emily scrubbed back and looked closely at the noon footage. She noticed a detail. When the door slid open, there was a very faint light inside, like the glow of a smartphone screen. And when the hand reached out, it was holding something. It was too small to make out. Emily zoomed in to the maximum pixelation. The blurry pixels formed a distinct shape. It looked like a small, orange prescription pill bottle. Alex had always been healthy and rarely took medication, aside from over-the-counter antacids, which he claimed he had packed for Dallas. Emily saved the video clip, put the camera back in place, and left the room. The moment she stepped into the living room, her cell phone rang. It was Alex. Emily stared at the caller ID, hesitated for a few seconds, and answered, "Hello." Her voice was flat, devoid of any emotion. "Emily, did you guys eat?" Alex's voice came through evenly. There was dead silence in the background. "We ate. Did you just get off work?" "Yeah, worked late again. Just ordered some room service." Alex sounded a bit tired. "How's the Texas project going?" Emily walked out onto the back deck and slid the glass door shut. "It's fine, just exhausting. I miss you and Penny." Once upon a time, those words would have warmed her heart. Now, they felt entirely synthetic. "Really? Well, take care of yourself." Emily's tone remained frosty. "Is something wrong?" "You don't sound like yourself," Alex noted. "No, just tired." Emily stared out into the suburban night. The streetlights had come on, illuminating the houses across the cul-de-sac. Behind every illuminated window was a family. Her own family looked intact from the outside, but inside, it was rotting to the core. "By the way, my mom called me today," Alex suddenly said. "And what did she say?" "She said you went out with a guy from work." There was a probing edge to Alex's voice. "How would she know?" Emily asked. "She just mentioned it. Don't pay her any mind. You know how mom gets, making things up." "Yeah, I'm not paying her any mind," Emily let out a dry, cold laugh, though Alex couldn't see it. "Do you trust me?" she asked abruptly. A few seconds of heavy silence hung on the line. "Of course I trust you. You're my wife." He said it so naturally. If she didn't know the truth, she would have believed him. "Good. I'm hanging up. Penny needs me." "All right, good night." The call ended. Emily stood on the deck. The cool evening breeze washed over her. She crossed her arms and stared at the neighboring houses. Everyone had their own hidden lives behind the facade, and so did she. Going back inside, she saw Penny had finished her cartoons. "Mommy, I'm sleepy." "Okay, let's go take a bath." During bath time, Penny was playing with the bubbles when she suddenly said, "Mommy, Daddy called me today." Emily's hand stopped moving. "When? When I was making dinner? He called my Apple Watch from your phone." Penny held up her wet, soapy wrist. "He said he was in Texas and missed me, and he told me to be a good girl and listen to Mommy." A cold sweat broke out on Emily's back. Alex called Penny using Emily's phone. She had been home all afternoon and her phone was always nearby, unless he snuck out and grabbed her phone while she wasn't looking. Emily remembered she had dozed off on the sofa for about 30 minutes that afternoon. When she woke up, her phone was right on the coffee table. But if Alex moved fast, what else did Daddy say? He said he'd be home soon and asked if you had gone anywhere lately. Penny kept playing with the bubbles, completely oblivious to how Emily's face had drained of color. And what did you say? I said you stay home all the time and that Grandma came over. What did Daddy say to that? He said he understood and asked me not to tell you he called. Penny looked up, her big eyes filled with confusion. But I think I should tell you. Emily hugged her daughter. Her mind was ice cold. Alex was using their daughter to check up on her. If she had left the house today, Penny would have told him. And then what? What would he have done? Penny, if Daddy calls you again, always tell Mommy, okay? Why? Daddy said it was our secret. Because Mommy wants to know what Daddy is saying. Mommy misses him too. Emily quickly improvised an excuse. Okay. Penny nodded. After putting her daughter to bed, Emily checked her iPhone's recent calls. There was no outgoing call to Penny's Apple Watch. Alex had deleted the log. She opened her contacts, found the watch's number, hesitated, and tapped dial. Hello, Mommy, came Penny's sleepy voice from the other room. Sweetie, you're not asleep yet? Almost. Is something wrong, Mommy? Nothing, just checking on you. Good night. Good night, Mommy. Emily hung up and stared at the screen. Alex had managed to snatch her phone. That meant he wasn't just coming out of the closet, he was freely roaming the house, and she was completely blind to it. Emily walked up to the master bedroom door. This time, she didn't go in. She stood by the doorframe and spoke into the dark room. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was crystal clear. Alex, I know you're in there. I don't know what you want, or what you and your mother have cooked up. But let me tell you this, I am not scared. You can hide in there for the rest of your life for all I care. Let's see who cracks first. With that, she turned on her heel and walked away, not stopping, not waiting for a response. She went into Penny's room, locked the door from the inside, leaned against it, and listened. Dead silence. A few minutes later, a very faint sound drifted from across the hall, the distinct rumble of a heavy wooden closet door sliding open and shut. Emily smiled, and then tears spilled over her eyelashes. He finally knew the gig was up. The game was officially on. The next morning, Emily woke up early. As usual, she made breakfast, woke Penny, and drove her to school. But everything felt different. She knew Alex was in the closet. Alex knew that she knew. This unspoken, macabre atmosphere hung over the entire house like a thick, invisible fog. At the school drop-off zone, Emily crouched down to fix her daughter's jacket. Penny, Aunt Olivia is going to pick you up after school today. Why not you? Penny grabbed Emily's hand. Mommy has errands to run. I'll be late. Emily smoothed her daughter's hair. You'll go to Aunt Liv's house, do your homework, have dinner, and wait for Mommy to come get you. Okay, Penny nodded obediently. Remember, no matter who asks, you say Mommy is working late today. Understood? And you cannot tell Daddy, especially Daddy. Emily looked at her daughter with utter seriousness. This is our new secret. Way more important than the closet secret. Got it. Penny's eyes sparkled. She loved having a secret mission with her mom. After drop-off, Emily drove straight to her best friend, Olivia's place. Olivia lived in a trendy loft in downtown Chicago, was single, and ran her own graphic design firm. Seeing the dark circles under Emily's eyes and her exhausted posture, Olivia was alarmed. Oh my God, Em, what's wrong? Are you sick? Not sick, but worse. Emily walked in and collapsed onto the velvet sofa. What happened? Olivia poured her a glass of water and sat down beside her. Emily took a sip and unloaded everything. From the shocking words out of her daughter's mouth, to finding the Brooks Brothers button, installing the Best Buy camera, and finally seeing with her own eyes the arm wearing the anniversary watch reaching out of the closet. Olivia listened with her jaw on the floor. Are you telling me Alex has been hiding in your master bedroom closet for 50 days? At least 50 days, according to Penny's math. Emily laughed bitterly. And my mother-in-law is in on it. They're working together. Why? What on earth do they want? I don't know. Emily shook her head. That's why I need your help. I need to investigate today, and Penny can't be at the house. No problem. I've got Penny, Olivia said without hesitation. But what exactly are you investigating? I'm going to Alex's corporate office. Emily set down the glass, her eyes hardening. If Alex is hiding in the closet, his Dallas project is a total sham. Somebody at his company has to know something, and I want to check his credit card statements. If he's been home this whole time, where are all those out-of-state charges coming from? Olivia looked at Emily and suddenly threw her arms around her. I am so sorry you have to deal with this psycho garbage." Those simple words almost broke Emily. For 7 years, she had pretended to be strong, pretended to be perfectly happy. Now, someone was finally validating her nightmare. "I'm okay," Emily sniffled. "I just want the truth." "I'm going with you," Olivia stood up. "You shouldn't do this alone. 2 heads are better than 1. Emily hesitated, then nodded. "Thank you, Liv." "Don't thank me. We've been best friends since college." Olivia grabbed her keys. "Give me 5 minutes to get dressed, and we'll head over to Alex's office." Alex's firm was located in a sleek high-rise in the Chicago Loop. Emily had been there for a few holiday parties, and the receptionist recognized her. "Emily!" "Hi, what brings you here?" she asked, surprised. "I'm here to see Alex. Family emergency." Emily kept her voice steady. "But Alex is in Texas." The receptionist looked even more confused. "In Texas?" Emily's chest tightened. "When did he leave? It's been almost 3 months, right?" "I don't remember the exact date. It was a direct order from Mr. Sterling. The Dallas project is a massive deal. Alex is running point on it. Has he been back to the office at all lately?" "No, he's been down there the whole time," the receptionist shook her head. "Just last week, Mr. Sterling was saying Alex is knocking it out of the park down there. They might even extend his deployment." Emily and Olivia exchanged a look. "Could I speak with Mr. Sterling?" "Mr. Sterling is actually out today. He's at a summit in New York," the receptionist said apologetically. "Is Alex's office still exactly how he left it?" "It is, but it's locked. Can I just take a look?" "Just through the glass," Emily pleaded. The receptionist hesitated but agreed. "Hold on, let me grab the master key." Alex's office was at the end of the hallway. It was modest but impeccably neat. Through the frosted glass door, you could see everything inside. The mahogany desk was clear, save for a dual monitor setup and a few binders. His Herman Miller chair was pushed in, looking as if he had just stepped out for a coffee. But Emily noticed one glaring detail. On the corner of the desk sat his prized Monstera plant. The leaves were entirely yellow, the edges curled and crispy. It hadn't been watered in ages. If Alex was genuinely on a corporate trip, his office wouldn't look like an abandoned tomb. At the very least, an assistant would have watered his plant. "How long has it been since anyone watered that?" Emily asked the receptionist. "Oh, right," she looked embarrassed. "After Alex left, they locked the office. No one has gone in." "So, over 2 months without water. I see." Emily nodded and asked no further questions. Once they left the high-rise and got into Olivia's car, Olivia spoke first. "It really looks like the company believes he's in Texas, but the office is weird. If it was a highly critical 2-month project, they wouldn't just leave his office to collect dust." Emily started the engine. Unless the Dallas trip was completely fabricated from the top down. But why would the company play along? Mr. Sterling and Alex are really tight. Maybe Alex asked him for a massive personal favor, Olivia suggested. Emily remembered Alex mentioning how much Richard Sterling had mentored him. But this is insane. Faking a corporate relocation just to hide in a closet? Olivia couldn't wrap her head around it. Not faking a relocation to hide in a closet, Emily gripped the steering wheel tight. Hiding in the closet is the reason for faking the relocation. Olivia froze. "What do you mean?" "I mean, the business trip is part of the plan. And hiding in the closet is the execution." Emily's eyes were like ice. "They have a full master plan. I just don't know the endgame yet." Next, Emily drove to a Chase Bank branch. She was a joint account holder on one of Alex's credit cards. She walked up to the ATM and printed out the transaction history for the last 3 months. It was a long receipt of charges. Most were mundane: grocery stores, gas stations, Uber Eats. But Emily noticed that starting the exact day Alex left, a flurry of out-of-state charges appeared. Hilton hotels, steakhouses, convenience stores, all in Dallas, Texas. The timeline was extremely consistent, with charges popping up almost every day. On paper, it looked exactly like a man living in another city. But Emily scrutinized it and found the cracks. The amounts were too perfect. The hotel charge was exactly the same every single day. The restaurant bills were identical amounts. And the timestamps were strictly grouped around 12 p.m. and 7 p.m., like an automated schedule. "It's too rhythmic," Olivia pointed out over Emily's shoulder. "A real person traveling doesn't spend money like a robot." Emily pointed at one specific line item. "Look, 10 p.m., a charge at a 7-Eleven for exactly $15. Next day, 10 p.m., same 7-Eleven, same $15. Day 3, exact same thing, That doesn't happen. Emily shoved the receipt into her purse. These charges are staged. Maybe he gave his card to someone else down there, or used some virtual card software. Alex isn't in Dallas. He's been home this entire time. He engineered this paper trail to make everyone believe he was out of state, including me. Emily's voice cracked on the last word. Being manipulated so thoroughly by her own husband felt worse than a simple betrayal. "Where to now?" Olivia asked gently. "Home." Emily put the car in drive. "But I have Penny. Do you want to come over?" "I'm not picking up Penny. I'm going for Alex." Emily stared straight ahead, a fire burning in her eyes. "Since he knows I'm onto him, and I know he's in there, it's time to put the cards on the table. I demand to know why." "Should I come with you as backup?" Olivia asked, clearly worried. "No, this is between me and him." Emily shook her head. "You keep Penny safe. I'll come get her tonight. If I don't text you by 9 p.m., call the police." Olivia paled. "Is it really that dangerous?" "I don't know." Emily gave a dark, hollow laugh. "I don't know what Alex and Martha are capable of. But hiding in a closet for 50 days and faking corporate records? We're way past harmless pranks." After dropping Olivia off, Emily drove back to the suburbs alone. The drive gave her time to process everything. How she and Alex met at a college alumni mixer, the sweetness of their early dating years, the vows they took, the pain and overwhelming joy of having Penny. 7 years flashed before her eyes like a movie reel. She used to believe that despite her nightmare mother-in-law, Alex truly loved her. She thought that even if they didn't have luxury cars or a mansion, just being a family was enough to be happy. Now she realized it was all a beautifully constructed lie. The house she considered her sanctuary, the man she considered her partner, both were fakes. Pulling into the driveway, Emily didn't immediately go inside. She stood on the front porch, took 3 deep breaths, and unlocked the front door. The house was as quiet as when she left, but the air felt heavy. The tension was palpable. Emily dropped her purse on the entryway table, kicked off her shoes, and walked to the center of the living room. She didn't march to the bedroom. She didn't even look toward the hallway. Instead, she sat on the sofa and grabbed the TV remote. She turned on a local news channel, keeping the volume low just enough to act as white noise. She sat there, staring blindly at the screen. She was waiting for Alex to come out on his own. Now that the gig was up, there was no point in him hiding. Time ticked by. The news anchor droned on seamlessly. The sunlight crawled across the hardwood floor. 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Not a single sound from the bedroom. Emily started to lose her patience. Was she wrong? Was Alex really going to play this waiting game forever? She stood up and marched to the master bedroom door. It was still slightly ajar, just how she had left it. She shoved it open. The room was completely empty. The closet doors were flush and tightly closed. Emily walked right up to the wood panels. "Alex, come out!" she demanded to the closet. "We need to talk." No response. Emily reached for the metal handle. This time, there was no hesitation. She yanked it hard. The doors slid open with a loud bang, revealing the entire interior. The clothes were hung perfectly. The shelves were immaculate. No Alex. No secret trapdoors. No hidden panic rooms. Nothing. Emily froze. Had she been completely wrong? Was everything Penny said just a wild childhood fantasy? Was the evidence just a bizarre chain of coincidences? She stood paralyzed, her fingers still gripping the cold metal handle. Her eyes bored into the back of the closet, as if she could laser her way through the neatly hung dress shirts. Nothing. On the left, her maxi dresses hung evenly, the hems slightly creased. On the right, his suits were flawless. The collars were protected by the garment bags she had placed over them herself. On the middle shelves, the sweaters were color-coded, and his casual wear was folded to retail perfection. Even the cashmere scarf she had tossed up there last week sat completely undisturbed. The storage bins at the bottom were perfectly aligned. The walls of the closet were solid drywall. There was absolutely no place a grown American man could hide. She oversaw the closet installation herself. She knew every square inch of it. Could she really be wrong? The thought pierced Emily's heart like a needle, leaving her dizzy with confusion. Penny's words. The heavy breathing she heard. The video of the arm wearing the fossil watch. The spiked ComEd bills. The missing Chobanian eggs. Martha's cryptic threats. Did all these clues suddenly lose their connection? Was it all Penny's imagination? A child missing her dad so badly she invented a hyper-realistic lie, down to a 50-day countdown. But Penny's descriptions were too clinical. The layout of the doors, the exact times he came out, the gesture. It was too grounded for a kid's made-up story. Was she having a nervous breakdown? Between Martha's relentless bullying and Alex's emotional unavailability, were her nerves so frayed that she bought into a child's game and hallucinated a breathing sound? But the Best Buy camera footage was 1080 PhD. That arm, that watch. She had watched the playback a dozen times. There was no mistake. Unless Alex had slipped out while she was downtown at his office and the bank. Emily snapped out of her daze. She practically leaped toward the bookshelf, grabbed the picture frame, ripped the magnetic camera off, and with trembling fingers, opened the app on her iPhone. She pulled up the timeline from right after she left the house that morning. The timestamp showed she left the front door at 9:17 a.m. The living room was quiet. The sun shifted. The shadows elongated. At 9:46 a.m., the closet door in the bedroom suddenly moved. It didn't just crack open like before. It slid all the way to the side. A familiar silhouette stepped out. It was Alex. He was wearing gray sweatpants and a t-shirt. His hair was a greasy mess. Dark circles bagged under his eyes, and his face was gaunt and exhausted. He looked nothing like the polished corporate VP from his photos. After stepping out, he didn't leave the bedroom immediately. He leaned against the closet door and buried his face in his hands. His shoulders shook violently, as if he were trying to suppress a massive breakdown. Emily's heart pounded like a jackhammer. Her knuckles turned white, gripping her iPhone. The screen illuminated her pale face. She held her breath and kept watching. A few minutes later, Alex lowered his hands. His face was wet with tears. He looked up, glanced nervously at the bedroom door, then tiptoed over to the edge of the bed and sat down. His eyes locked onto their framed anniversary photo on the dresser. His expression was a tortured mix of guilt, pain, and some internal war Emily couldn't decipher. He sat there like a stone statue for a full 10 minutes. Then he stood up, walked into the kitchen, opened the fridge, and grabbed a yogurt, one of the missing ones Emily had noted. He grabbed a slice of bread and shoved it in his mouth. But his eyes darted around frantically, constantly checking the front door, terrified someone might walk in. After inhaling the food, he stepped out onto the back deck, pulled out his cell phone, turned his back to the camera, and made a call. Because of the distance, there was no audio, but his body language was explosive. His brow was furrowed, his mouth moving rapidly, clearly arguing with whoever was on the other end. He gripped the phone so hard his knuckles were bone white. At the end, he raised his arm as if to smash the phone against the deck railing, but stopped himself at the last second, gritted his teeth, and hung up. After the call, Alex stood heavily against the railing, staring out at the suburban lawns. The morning sun hit him, making him look incredibly pathetic. Then he turned, walked back inside, opened the coat closet in the hallway, and put on his running shoes. He grabbed a black North Face backpack and haphazardly shoved some clothes into it. He cast one final, agonizing look toward the master bedroom, radiating regret and guilt. Then, he quietly slipped out the front door. Time of departure, 10:25 a.m. Emily replayed the video until her phone overheated and her fingers went numb. She finally had her definitive proof. She wasn't crazy. Penny didn't lie. Alex had genuinely been living in that closet for 50 days, and he had just bolted. He left in a chaotic rush, but with heavy reluctance. But where did he go? Who was he screaming at on the phone? Martha? Someone else? Why was he in the closet to begin with? Why fake a corporate relocation? Why run away now? What horrifying secret was holding this whole thing together? A million questions swarmed in Emily's brain, triggering a massive migraine. She walked out onto the deck, staring in the direction Alex had driven off. Her soul was a war zone. Anger, betrayal, confusion, panic. The cocktail of emotions choked her. She reflected on their 7 years. They had reconnected at a college alumni tailgate. She had just gone through a bad breakup and was at rock bottom. Alex was there, gentle and attentive. He memorized her Starbucks order, brought her takeout when she worked late at the agency, took care of her when she had the flu, and held her tight, whispering, "I've got you," when she cried. That gentleness was why she married him, against all odds. Even knowing Martha despised her, viewing her as blue-collar trash unworthy of her golden boy son, Emily had foolishly believed that if she worked hard enough, if she was polite enough, she could melt Martha's frozen heart and earn her place in the family. After the wedding, she killed herself trying to be perfect. She worked her corporate job, managed the mortgage, took care of Alex, and swallowed Martha's endless abuse. Martha nitpicked. Emily smiled. Martha criticized. Emily compromised. Martha trash-talked her to Alex. Emily stayed silent to keep the peace. When Penny was born, she became a machine. Working, mothering, cleaning, running on fumes, but never complaining, believing that a united family could survive anything. She never expected this to be her reward. Her husband living in a closet to spy on her. Her mother-in-law pulling strings in the shadows. The two of them constructing a massive lie, treating her like a useful idiot. Emily leaned against the deck railing, and the dam finally broke. She sobbed uncontrollably. She didn't know what she had done to deserve this. She just wanted a normal American life to love her husband, have peace with her in-laws, and raise a happy, healthy kid. Why was that so impossible? She cried until she was hollowed out, but eventually, the tears stopped. Crying wouldn't fix this. She had to track Alex down. She had to drag the truth out into the light and demand justice for herself and for Penny. She wiped her face, unlocked her phone, and dialed Alex's number. It rang for a long time before he finally picked up. Hello? Alex's voice was hoarse and exhausted. The sound of highway wind whipped in the background. Alex, where are you? Emily's voice was eerily calm, so calm she shocked herself. It was as if the woman who had just been hyperventilating in tears was someone else entirely. Silence hung on the line for a few agonizing seconds. Emily, I'm down in Texas. Things got crazy with the project. I'm on the road. Really? Emily let out a dry, venomous laugh. You're in Texas? Then why didn't you mention that when you walked out our front door this morning? And those clothes you shoved in your North Face backpack, are those for a boardroom meeting? Or for hiding in a new location? Dead silence on the other end. Only the sound of the wind. It felt like an eternity before Alex spoke again, his voice breaking under the weight of utter despair. Emily. You know everything? I know you've been living in our closet for 50 days. I know you faked the Dallas project to spy on me. I know you and your mother have been playing me for a fool. Emily's voice rose steadily. The dam of 7 years of repressed anger finally burst. Alex, tell me why. What did I do wrong to make you treat me like this? To lie to my face? I'm sorry, Em. I'm so sorry. Alex was choking back sobs. I didn't want to lie to you. I didn't want to do this. I was forced to. Forced to? Emily scoffed. Who forced you? Your mother? She told you to hide in a closet and spy on me, and you just said, okay? She told you to lie, and you lied? Alex, are you even a man? Do you have a spine of your own? Did you think about me? About Penny? About our marriage? I did! Of course I did! Alex yelled, his voice cracking. Every single day I sat in the dark in that closet, watching you take care of Penny all by yourself, watching you carry the weight of everything, and I hated myself. I felt like the biggest piece of garbage on earth. I wanted to kick the doors open 1,000 times and tell you everything, but I couldn't. I swear to God, I couldn't. Why couldn't you? Emily demanded. What possible reason could justify hiding in a closet and gaslighting your wife instead of just talking to me? We are married, Alex. What could be so bad that we couldn't handle it together as a team? Alex hesitated, taking a long, ragged breath before struggling to get the words out. Please don't ask. When I get everything sorted out on my end, I'll come home. I'll tell you the whole truth. Just give me a little more time. I am not giving you another second, Emily stated with lethal precision. Alex, I want the truth right now. Tell me exactly where you are. I'm driving to you. No, Emily, you can't come here. Alex panicked. Where I am right now is dangerous for you. If you show up, it's only going to make things 10 times worse. Please trust me. I'll fix this as fast as I can and come home. Dangerous? Emily's stomach dropped. Alex's erratic behavior was making her head spin. What kind of situation was he in that was actually dangerous? What secret terrified him this much? Alex, tell me right now, did something happen? Did your mom do something to you, or are you in some kind of trouble? Emily's tone softened slightly, her rage temporarily giving way to genuine alarm. At the end of the day, he was her husband and the father of her child. She couldn't just let him walk into a buzzsaw. I'm fine, don't worry, Alex said, his voice dropping to a soothing register. I'm just handling a personal matter. It'll be over soon. Stay at the house. Keep Penny safe. Don't overthink this, and whatever you do not go talk to my mother. Okay? When I get back, everything will be fine. Emily opened her mouth to interrogate him further, but the line went dead. He hung up. She dialed back immediately, but it went straight to voicemail. His phone was off. Emily stood on the deck, her phone clutched in her hand, staring into the void. Alex's evasiveness, his crushing guilt, his use of the words forced and dangerous. It all confirmed that this was infinitely darker and more twisted than a simple case of snooping, and Martha definitively held the missing puzzle piece. Right on cue, the doorbell rang. Emily's muscles tensed. She walked to the front door and looked through the peephole. It was Martha. Emily took a deep, grounding breath, forcing her heart rate down. What must be done, must be done. She unlocked the deadbolt and pulled the door open. Her face was a blank mask. Mom, you're here. Martha stood on the porch holding a Whole Foods grocery bag. She wore her usual expression of performative, overbearing concern. She breezed past Emily into the foyer, her eyes darting around the house like a hawk searching for prey. Emily, darling, I came to check on you. I figured I'd whip up some dinner. You're home all alone, probably too lazy to cook a proper meal, and you need your nutrition. By the way, where is Penny? She's not home. She's at Olivia's. I had errands to run today, so I asked Liv to watch her. Emily shut the front door. Her tone was flat, devoid of its usual polite warmth. She could feel Martha's eyes scanning the living room, laced with a hyper-vigilant curiosity. She was obviously looking for Alex. Martha nodded, set the grocery bag on the kitchen island, and turned to Emily, her face contorting into faux worry. Emily, what is going on with your face? Are you still feeling under the weather? When we spoke yesterday, you sounded so strange. If you're genuinely sick, go to urgent care. Don't play the martyr. I'm perfectly fine. I'm just sleep-deprived. Emily leaned against the back of the sofa, locking eyes with her mother-in-law. Mom, you didn't just come over to cook me dinner and check my temperature, did you? Martha's movements stopped abruptly. The fake smile froze on her face, but she quickly recovered, snapping her mask of matriarchal concern back into place. Emily, how can you speak to me like that? I am your mother-in-law. Taking care of you and my granddaughter is my duty, but clearly, something is eating at you. Alex isn't home. If you're struggling with something, tell me. I'll help however I can. Struggling? Emily let out a short, hollow laugh. Yeah, my struggle is that I have no idea where my husband actually is. I have no idea why my husband spent the last 50 days hiding in my bedroom closet, faking a corporate trip to Texas just to spy on me. And I have no idea why my mother-in-law conspired with him to treat me like an absolute idiot. Can you help me with those struggles, Mom? The words dropped into the living room like a grenade. Martha's face drained of blood instantly. The nosy curiosity in her eyes vanished, replaced by sheer, unadulterated panic. She stared at Emily, her jaw practically unhinged. She stood frozen for a long time before she could stammer, Emily. You know? I know, Emily nodded. Her voice was calm, but backed by a titanium resolve. Not only do I know Alex was living in that closet, I also know he packed a bag and ran away this morning. I know you two have been playing me this entire time. Mom, I only want to know one thing right now. Why? Why did Alex hide in the closet? Why the fake Dallas project? What is your endgame? Martha stumbled backward, bracing herself against the granite countertop. All the color had left her face. She realized the game was entirely over. This daughter-in-law, the one she had always viewed as a doormat, whom she sought to control and demean, had blown their master plan wide open. After a long, suffocating silence, Martha slowly raised her chin. The panic melted away, replaced by an icy, aristocratic defiance. She glared at Emily and spat. Fine, I admit it. I made Alex hide in the closet. And I told him to fake the business trip. So what? Emily's chest hitched, even though she already knew. Hearing the venomous confirmation straight from Martha's mouth was devastating. So what? Emily's voice spiked. Mom, we are supposed to be a family. What did I ever do to you to deserve this? Why would you manipulate me like this? Why are you trying to destroy our marriage? Family, Martha scoffed, her voice dripping with disgust and elitism. Emily, do you really have the nerve to talk about family? Look at yourself. You come from nothing. You have a mediocre middle management job. You're average at best. What right did you ever have to marry Alex? You have zero pedigree, no connections. What made you think you belonged in our world? Alex is brilliant. He is destined for the C-suite. He could have had his pick of the litter. He could be living in a gated community, rubbing elbows with real power. And it's all because of you. You are dragging him down into the dirt. I'm dragging him down? Emily stared in disbelief. Fresh tears blurred her vision. Mom, for 7 years I have worked a full-time job, paid half the mortgage, cooked, cleaned, and taken care of Alex and Penny. I have never asked you for a single dime. When Alex worked 80-hour weeks, I held down the fort. When he got the flu, I nursed him. When he argued with you, I was the one who smoothed things over. I raised Penny practically as a single mom while you sat back and judged. You never lifted a finger to help us. You only ever tore me down. And now you say I'm dragging him down? That is your job, Martha declared with absolute entitlement. You married him, so you do your duty as a wife and a mother. Do you think doing the bare minimum makes you a saint? In my eyes, you doing the chores is exactly what's expected of someone of your pedigree. Expected? Emily's heart turned completely to ice. Mom, nothing in this world is expected. I treat Alex and this family well because I love Alex. I love this family. Not because I owe you a debt, and not because it's my subservient duty. Love, Martha sneered. Does love pay for a country club membership? Does love get Alex promoted to vice president? Does love give our family prestige? Emily, you are painfully naive. In the real world, the only thing that matters is leverage. Stuck with you, Alex is going to be a nobody middle manager for the rest of his life. And so you forced him to hide in a closet and fake a business trip. So he would divorce me? Emily stared at the older woman, a mix of horror and rage boiling in her veins. You want him to marry someone you approve of? Someone with a trust fund who can buy his way to the top? Martha didn't even try to deny it. A smug, twisted pride washed over her face. Exactly. Emily, my advice to you is to be smart and file the divorce papers yourself. You and Alex are from 2 completely different tax brackets. You can't force a square peg into a round hole. If you keep clinging to him like a parasite, you'll ruin his future and embarrass yourself. I am not getting a divorce, Emily stated with absolute finality. Alex and I love each other. We have Penny. Our family is not going to be shredded just because you want a richer daughter-in-law. Emily paused, trying to rein in her fury. Mom, I know you despise me. I know you think I'm trash. But I will keep trying. I will take amazing care of Alex and Penny. I am begging you. Stop torturing us. Oh, you're begging me? Martha laughed. A cold, sharp sound. Emily, do you think playing the victim is going to soften me up? Let me make this crystal clear. No. My mind is made up. I will see to it that you and Alex divorce. If you refuse to walk away quietly, I will make your life a living hell. What else could you possibly do? Emily cried out, desperate and furious. You already made him live in a closet like a rat for 50 days. You lied to my face for 2 months. Is that not enough? What else are you going to do to me? What am I going to do? Martha's eyes narrowed into slits. I am going to ruin your reputation. I am going to make sure Alex sees you for the tramp you really are. I want you to run away from this family out of pure shame. Do you really think I put him in that closet just to watch you? I was waiting for you to slip up. I needed hard evidence of your infidelity. The second you brought another man into this house, the second I had proof you were cheating, Alex would have filed the paperwork himself, and you wouldn't get a dime in alimony or a second of custody. Emily froze. It all clicked. She finally understood the sheer depravity of it. She understood why Martha forced Alex into the closet, why Martha constantly called to interrogate her, why Martha brought up the male coworker at the company happy hour. Martha was hunting for a reason to legally and socially destroy her, forcing a divorce. So that guy taking photos at the corporate mixer. You hired a private investigator, Emily said, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper, staring dead into Martha's eyes. And those fake text messages you claimed I sent to my coworker, you forged them. You manufactured a cheating scandal, fed it to Alex, convinced him I was having an affair, and manipulated him into hiding in the closet to catch me in the act. Is that it? Martha smiled a sickeningly proud smile. Yes, I did all of that. Emily, you are too stupid for your own good. You thought you were flying under the radar, but you had no idea I hired a PI to tail you. I assumed that once I handed Alex the photos, he would kick you to the curb immediately, but I didn't realize my own son was such a spineless coward. I didn't realize he would drag his feet trying to save your dignity. Crying in a closet. Martha's voice pitched up, vibrating with genuine disgust. How did I raise such a pathetic excuse for a man? For a woman like you, he was willing to throw his entire career away. He stopped taking my calls. I put him in that closet to gather evidence to destroy you, not to sit in the dark crying over a cheating wife. Emily stared at her mother-in-law with pure revulsion. She was finally seeing the real Martha. Selfish, cruel, a textbook narcissist obsessed with absolute control. Martha never gave a damn about Alex's happiness, and she certainly didn't care about their family. Martha only cared about her country club status, the family optics, and the bragging rights Alex's corporate ascension would bring her. Mom, you have crossed a line that you can never uncross. Emily's voice rang with absolute authority. Alex is your son, not your personal investment portfolio. He has his own mind, his own feelings, his own life. You cannot micromanage his marriage and force him into your sick schemes. Alex and I love each other. We have a daughter. We are not getting a divorce. No matter what psychotic games you play, we are not signing papers. How dare you? Martha shrieked, her body trembling with rage, pointing a manicured finger at Emily's face. You ungrateful little brat, you dare speak to me like that? I am telling you right now, you will lose. I will force this divorce if it's the last thing I do. Even if it kills me, I will purge you from this family. Click. The front door slowly swung open. Alex stood in the foyer. He was deathly pale, his expression shattered, staring at the two women in his living room. The North Face backpack slipped from his hand and hit the hardwood floor with a heavy thud. Clothes spilled out onto the rug. He had come back, and he had heard every single word. Alex, you're back, Martha pivoted, instantly dropping her rage and rushing toward him, grabbing his arm frantically. Alex, tell this woman to pack her bags. Make her sign the papers. She is a leech. She is a roadblock to your promotion. Stop letting her manipulate you. Alex said nothing. He slowly, methodically peeled his mother's fingers off his arm and looked at Emily. Emily looked back at him. Her eyes were swimming with betrayal, fury, and one last, desperate shred of hope. Hope that he would finally grow a spine, tell the truth, and defend his wife and daughter. After a grueling silence, Alex finally spoke. His voice was raspy, hollow, and drowning in guilt. Mom, stop. Alex, what are you saying? Martha recoiled, looking at him as if he had grown a second head. I am doing this for your own good, for the family's legacy. You cannot throw away everything I sacrificed for you just for some woman. For my own good? Alex looked at his mother, his eyes brimming with a lifetime of agony and disappointment. Mom, your idea of for my own good was psychologically torturing me into hiding in a closet to spy on the woman I love. You convinced me that if I didn't catch her in the act, she would take Penny away from me forever in court. It was forcing me to gaslight my own wife. It was trying to force a divorce using doctored evidence from a private investigator. Mom, none of that was for my own good. It broke me. It destroyed my marriage. It pushed me to the edge of a mental breakdown. I didn't, Martha screamed, her pristine facade cracking completely. Alex, I just want you to have a better life. I want you to be a CEO. What did I do wrong? Emily is beneath you. She can't give you the life you deserve. Only by getting rid of her can you reach your potential and make our family proud. The life I want has nothing to do with corporate titles or country club memberships, Alex roared, his voice cracking with emotion. The life I want is coming home to Emily. It's raising Penny. It's having a family that doesn't treat every holiday like a corporate networking event. Mom, you never once asked me what I wanted. You never gave a damn about who I actually am. You just project your own insecurities onto me. You have to control every breath I take. I control you because I am your mother. Who else has the right to guide you? Tears of rage and self-pity streamed down Martha's face. I gave up everything for you. I put all my chips on you. I just wanted you to be elite. I wanted you to avoid the mistakes I made. What did I do wrong? Mom, I know you sacrificed for me. I know you thought you were doing the right thing. Alex's tone broke, his eyes filling with tears. But your methods are psychotic. You can't claim you love me while actively destroying the people I love. Mom, Emily is a good person. She is kind. She works hard. She is an amazing mother. She has bled for this family. She never cheated on me. She never betrayed us. Those photos you gave me were a complete setup, and you know it. Stop lying to yourself. Fine. I'm not lying to myself, Martha snapped, digging her heels in. Emily is trash. Even without the photos, I will never accept her as my daughter-in-law. Alex, if you do not divorce her, I will cut you out of this family completely. The stress you're causing me is going to put me in an early grave. Mom, Alex screamed, tears finally spilling over his cheeks. Why are you doing this to me? Why? Emily stood there, watching the mother and son tear each other apart. She looked at Alex's tormented face, and Martha's psychotic stubbornness. A deep, bitter sorrow washed over her. She walked over to Alex, gently took his hand, and turned her steely gaze onto Martha. Mom, I know you hate me. I know you think I'm blue-collar trash who doesn't deserve your son. And I know that no matter what I do, you will never truly respect me. Emily paused, her grip on Alex's hand tightening. But I'm going to tell you this once. I truly love Alex. I truly love Penny. And I want to build a life with them. I am not getting a divorce. Even if you disown Alex, even if you drop dead on this rug, I am not signing divorce papers. Emily took a breath, her voice softening just a fraction. Mom, I know raising Alex wasn't easy. I know you want him to be successful. But have you ever considered that real success isn't a vice president title or a Rolex? It's having a family that actually likes being around each other, that forgives each other. Alex doesn't want to play the corporate Game of Thrones. He just wants a safe, warm home. I will keep working hard. I will take care of Alex and Penny. I will try to be better. So maybe one day you can tolerate me. But I'm not leaving. Martha stared at Emily. She looked at Emily's unyielding, honest eyes, and then at her son's tear-streaked, devastated face. The impenetrable wall of her ego began to fracture. She flashed back over the last 7 years, Emily's endless patience, her financial contributions, the way she took care of Alex when he was sick, the way she raised Penny into a bright, polite little girl. She realized Emily had never once yelled at her before today. She had never once complained about the verbal abuse. Deep down, past the classism and the snobbery, Martha was forced to admit that Emily was, objectively, a good woman, a loyal wife, and an excellent mother. Maybe she was the one who was wrong. Maybe, in her desperate obsession with status, she had systematically tortured the son she loved and actively sabotaged the only chance he had at a happy home. Maybe Emily and Alex really were meant for each other. Maybe Emily was the only one who could actually make Alex happy. Martha's tears came faster now, genuine tears of realization. She swayed on her feet and leaned heavily against the wall. Her voice was hoarse and defeated. I really was wrong. Mom, you weren't entirely wrong. You just loved me too much, and you went about it in a toxic way. Alex stepped forward and wrapped his arms around his mother. He buried his face in her shoulder and wept. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't be the golden boy you wanted. I'm sorry I wasn't honest with you. And I'm sorry we always fought. I promise I won't let you down in the real ways. I'll work hard, I'll provide, and I'll take care of you, Emily and Penny, but we have to be a team, okay? Emily walked over and gently took Martha's hand. The older woman's hand was rough, bearing the marks of age. It was trembling slightly. Emily looked at her mother-in-law with total sincerity. Mom, I'm sorry too. I should have stood up for myself earlier, and we should have communicated better. Moving forward, I will respect you and care for you. But we have to be a real family. No more mind games, okay? Martha looked at Alex, then at Emily. She saw the forgiveness in their eyes. The decades of ice around her heart finally shattered. She let out a loud sob and nodded. Okay, we'll be a real family. Emily, I am so sorry, this was all my fault. I bullied you, I lied to you, I forced Alex to do things that broke his heart. Can you ever forgive me? I forgive you, Mom, Emily smiled, tears spilling over her lashes. We're family. There's nothing to hold on to. From now on, no more private investigators, no more secrets, no more closets. Just family. Okay. Martha nodded furiously, gripping Emily's hand as if it were a lifeline. For decades, she had operated under the delusion that money and prestige were the only metrics of a successful life. But standing in this suburban living room, she finally realized that true wealth wasn't a corner office. It was having a family that stuck together, communicated, and loved each other through the darkest times. The afternoon sun poured through the bay windows, bathing the three of them in a warm golden light. After the explosive confrontation, the toxic fog that had suffocated the house finally lifted. What remained was exhaustion, remorse, and a desperate desire to rebuild. Martha wouldn't let go of Emily's hand, still weeping softly. Emily, I did you so wrong. I was so arrogant and selfish. I only cared about my country club friends and the family image, and I completely ignored your humanity. The horrible things I said, the fake text messages, the manipulation, it's all on me. I am so sorry. Please don't hate me. I don't. Emily squeezed her hand, feeling the last remnants of her bitter anger wash away. replaced by a profound exhaustion and a spark of empathy. Mom, I know you were coming from a place of fear. You just wanted the best for Alex and went off the deep end. The past is the past. Let's just focus on tomorrow. Alex stood beside them, watching the two most important women in his life call a truce. A massive weight lifted off his chest. For 50 days, he had lived in a literal dark box, eaten alive by guilt and anxiety. On one side, a demanding mother who tied his worth to his W-2. On the other, a loyal wife who kept his life running. He had been crushed in the middle, pushed to the brink of insanity. Now, the secrets were out. The poison was drained. He didn't have to hide anymore. He could finally look them both in the eye. Mom, Emily, I am so sorry. Alex wrapped his arms around both of them, his voice thick with emotion. Mom, I'll try to be more present. I'll include you more, and I'll stop avoiding conflict. But you have to respect my boundaries, respect my marriage, and respect Emily as the matriarch of this house. And Emily, God, I am so sorry I put you through this psychological torture. I swear on my life I will never lie to you again. I will never leave you to carry the load alone. Whatever happens, we face it together. Okay? Okay. Emily rested her head against Alex's chest, nodding firmly. Fresh tears fell, but this time, they were tears of profound relief. 7 years of biting her tongue had finally paid off. She had demanded Alex's honesty, earned Martha's respect, and secured the safety of her home. Martha leaned against Alex as well, sniffling. Okay, we do it your way. No more scheming. No more dictating your lives. Just a normal, happy family. The three of them stood locked in an embrace in the center of the living room. It was quiet, save for their synchronized breathing and the occasional sniffle. The sunlight felt like a blessing on a family that had walked through fire and finally found peace. After a while, they pulled apart. Martha wiped her eyes, a genuine, albeit hesitant smile appearing on her face. She looked at the Whole Foods bag on the counter. Emily, I brought some groceries. Let me make your favorite pot roast. You need a good meal. You look exhausted. Emily saw the tentative warmth in Martha's eyes, and her heart softened. She nodded. That sounds amazing, Mom. I'll help you prep. I'm helping too, Alex smiled, walking over to the kitchen island to unpack the groceries. In the past, Alex had never lifted a finger in the kitchen. He treated the house like a hotel. But today, he grabbed a chef's knife and started chopping the celery and carrots. His knife skills were atrocious, but his effort was entirely sincere. Martha and Emily joined him. Martha seasoned the beef, Emily washed the potatoes for mashing, and Alex kept chopping. The three of them moved around the kitchen in an uncoordinated but happy dance. Soon, the sound of genuine laughter echoed off the subway tile backsplash. That elusive, warm feeling of a real home finally filled the space. As the pot roast simmered in the slow cooker, Martha brought up the closet scheme, her voice heavy with shame. Emily, honestly, when I came up with that plan, I was out of my mind. I heard that Richard Sterling's daughter had a massive crush on Alex. Richard is the CEO. If Alex married his daughter, his career would skyrocket, and our family would be elite. I let the greed blind me. I told Alex to divorce you and go after the Sterling girl, but he flat out refused. He said he loved you, that he would never abandon you or Penny. I couldn't accept that, so I hatched the Dallas plan. She sighed, stirring the gravy. I thought if I hired that PI to snap out-of-context photos at your happy hour and fabricated some flirty text messages, Alex would see them and demand a divorce. But I didn't expect him to take the evidence, move into the closet, and spend all his time silently agonizing over it, instead of catching you in the act. Even with my fake evidence, he told me he knew your character, and that you weren't a cheater. Listening to Martha's confession, Emily felt no anger, only pity. She understood that Martha was driven by a twisted American dream, a relentless pursuit of status that poisoned everything it touched. She wanted a trophy son, but used the wrong currency, hurting everyone in the process. Mom, I know you thought you were securing his future, Emily said softly, pouring a glass of wine for Martha. But marriage isn't a corporate merger. Alex and I love each other. Even if we're just a middle-class family living in the suburbs, we're happy. We'll keep working hard, and we'll make you proud the right way. Alex set down his knife and looked at his mother. Mom, Emily is right. I don't care about the C-suite, and I don't care about being elite. All I care about is Emily, Penny, and you. As long as we have each other's backs, that's enough. I'll keep climbing the ladder, I'll pay the bills, and I'll make sure we're comfortable. But I'm never sacrificing my family for a title again. Martha took a sip of the wine and nodded, a look of true peace settling over her features. I understand now. I'm done being a foolish old woman. I'm done interfering. If you two are happy, I can finally sleep at night. Soon, dinner was ready. The pot roast, creamy mashed potatoes, glazed carrots, and a fresh Caesar salad. A classic American Sunday dinner, filling the house with an incredible aroma. Let's get Penny. She needs to try Grandma's pot roast. Emily smiled, pulling out her iPhone to call Olivia. Hey Liv, can you bring Penny home? We cooked a huge dinner. You should stay and eat with us. On the other end, Olivia sounded relieved and thrilled. Absolutely, we're on our way. I've been waiting for a text all day. Less than 30 minutes later, Olivia's car pulled into the driveway. The second Penny walked through the front door and saw Alex in the living room. Her eyes lit up like fireworks. She dropped her backpack, sprinted past Olivia, and launched herself into Alex's arms, screaming, Daddy, Daddy, you're finally out. I missed you so much. Alex caught her, burying his face in her hair. His eyes instantly reddened. He kissed her cheek and whispered, Daddy's out, baby girl. I missed you too. I am so sorry I made you wait, and I'm sorry I worried you. Daddy, you're not going back in the closet, right? Penny looked up at him with massive, hopeful eyes. I don't want you to play hide and seek anymore. I want you to eat dinner with me, and tuck me in, and read me bedtime stories. Alex's heart broke into a million pieces. He squeezed her tight and nodded fiercely. Never again, sweetie. Daddy is never going back in that closet. I am never leaving you again. I am going to eat dinner with you, tuck you in, and read you stories every single night. Yay! Penny clapped her hands, kissed Alex on the nose, and ran over to hug Emily's leg. Mommy, Daddy is back. Are we all together again? Yes, sweetie, we are all together again. Emily crouched down and hugged her daughter, a radiant smile on her face. Her eyes sparkled with pure joy. Olivia stood in the foyer, watching the emotional reunion. A huge grin spread across her face. Alex, I am so incredibly happy for you guys. Has been a wreck these past few days. I'm just glad the nightmare is over. Thank you, Liv. Thank you for stepping up and keeping Penny safe, Emily said with deep gratitude. Oh, shut up, we're best friends. Olivia waved it off. Your drama is my drama. Anyway, I'm not going to crash your family dinner. I'm going to head out. Call me later. We'll walk you out, Emily and Alex said in unison. After waving goodbye to Olivia, the family sat down at the dining room table. Penny sat right between Alex and Emily. She was a little tornado of joy, putting a carrot on Alex's plate, a scoop of potatoes on Emily's, and handing a dinner roll to Martha, chattering nonstop. Daddy, eat! Mommy, eat! Grandma's food is so yummy! Martha looked at Penny's glowing face, her own face breaking into a massive, genuine smile. She scooped some extra roast onto Penny's plate. You eat up too, sweetie. You need to grow big and strong. Alex looked at Emily, at Penny, and at his mother. A profound sense of contentment washed over him. He picked up his fork, slid a tender piece of beef onto Emily's plate, and said softly, you eat up too. You need your strength. Emily met his loving gaze, and a deep warmth spread through her chest. She nodded and took a bite. The food was incredible not just because of the recipe, but because it tasted like home, seasoned with genuine love. Throughout dinner, Penny talked a mile a minute about her kindergarten class, playing on the monkey bars, and the songs her music teacher taught them. Her giggles filled the dining room, anchoring the family in the present moment. Martha chimed in occasionally, asking about school, and asking Emily about her marketing projects at work. Her tone was respectful and interested, completely devoid of her old passive-aggressive bite. Alex engaged too, talking about his actual goals at the firm and his hopes for their family's future. They were finally a unit. It was warm, and it was safe. After dinner, Alex insisted on clearing the table and loading the dishwasher himself. Emily sat on the sofa with Martha, sipping decaf coffee and watching a sitcom. Martha held Emily's hand, telling stories about Alex when he was a little boy playing Little League and sharing memories of her own youth. Her voice was nostalgic and soft. Emily listened actively, chiming in, keeping her mother-in-law company without a shred of her former resentment. Meanwhile, Penny stood next to Alex at the kitchen sink, handing him the rinsed plates to load into the dishwasher. Daddy, are you tired? I can help you load the silverware, she offered in her tiny voice. Alex looked down at his daughter. His heart swelled. Thanks, baby. Daddy's got it. He washed the dishes while answering her endless barrage of questions, his eyes full of absolute adoration. That night, after Penny had her bath, Alex read her The Cat in the Hat. Emily helped Martha get settled in the guest room, turning down the sheets for her. In the past, Martha never let Emily touch the guest bed, always claiming she folded the corners wrong and finding a reason to complain. Tonight, she didn't utter a single critique. She just sat on the edge of the mattress, looking at Emily with profound gratitude. "Emily, thank you," Martha said softly. "You've been through hell these past few years. From now on, I am going to treat you like my own flesh and blood. Mom, you don't have to thank me. We're family." Emily smiled warmly. "From now on, we're a team. We'll take care of Alex and Penny, and we'll enjoy our lives." Martha nodded, her eyes shining. "Yes, a team. A good life." After saying goodnight to Martha and Penny, Emily walked into the master bedroom. Alex had already showered and was sitting on the edge of the bed, waiting for her. When she walked in, he stood up, pulled her into a tight embrace, and whispered into her hair, "Em, I am so sorry for the hell I put you through. I swear to God you will never feel alone in this marriage again." Emily wrapped her arms around his waist, resting her cheek against his chest. "I know. I don't blame you anymore. We are in this together now. No more secrets. No more assuming the worst." "Never again," Alex nodded firmly, kissing the top of her head. "Whatever life throws at us, we handle it as a team. I'm going to work hard, I'm going to take care of you, Penny and Mom, and I am going to protect this house." Emily looked up into his eyes, her own eyes bright with happiness. She leaned up and kissed him softly on the lips. Alex kissed her back, pulling her closer. The kiss was heavy with remorse, forgiveness, and a deep, enduring love. The moonlight filtered through the blinds, casting a soft, romantic glow over the bedroom. This family, having walked through a bizarre and terrifying trial by fire, had finally burned away the toxicity and found their peace. From that day forward, Martha never insulted Emily again. She stopped micromanaging their lives. Instead, she helped pick Penny up from school, occasionally cooked dinner, and treated Emily with the warmth and respect of a true mother. Alex matured immensely. He stopped being a passive observer in his own life. He stopped hiding from conflict and stopped lying to avoid arguments. Whenever an issue arose, he sat down with Emily and tackled it head-on. He took on half the household chores, became an incredibly present father, and treated Emily like a queen. Emily flourished. The heavy burden of anxiety she had carried for 7 years evaporated. She thrived at her corporate job, loved coming home to her family, and cherished the weekends. She loved her husband, enjoyed her mother-in-law's company, and watched her daughter grow up in a healthy, vibrant environment. On weekends, the whole family would go to the local park, hit up the farmer's market, grill burgers on the deck, and watch movies together. The house was constantly filled with laughter. Penny was the happiest kid in the world because she finally had a fully present mom and dad, a loving grandma, and a safe, joyful home. Sometimes, Emily would think back to those dark days. She would remember the 50 days Alex spent in the closet, Martha's cruel psychological warfare, and her own crushing despair. But she didn't regret it, because that crucible forced Martha to drop her elitist ego, forced Alex to find his backbone, and taught all of them the vital importance of communication, forgiveness, and unconditional love. Emily knew that the American dream wasn't about a flawless, wealthy life. Marriages have ugly conflicts. Families have deep flaws. The secret wasn't avoiding the problems or hiding from them. It was having the courage to face them honestly, to forgive, and to aggressively protect the people you love. The sun shone brightly, a gentle breeze rustled the oak trees in the front yard, and the family was together, safe and warm. This suburban house, once a battlefield of secrets and manipulation, was now a sanctuary of love, laughter, and hope. And that massive custom closet in the corner of the master bedroom? It went back to just holding clothes, becoming a quiet, forgotten footnote in the wild story of their marriage, a silent reminder to never take their hard-won happiness for granted.